Hi, Donovan Kramer here with Casa Grande Dispatch in PinalCentral. I'm here with Casa Grande Mayor Craig McFarland to talk about a topic that I know has been important to you for a long time. It's the widening of Interstate 10. I know that this has been a priority for you since before you became mayor, and now 5+ years later, after seeing steady but mostly behind the scenes progress, we're right on the cusp of something bigger, I think.
We are. We're right there. I think if we don't get anything else out of this, is a call to arms to have the constituents please reach out to their legislators. I know that I think in the chat sometime during this live broadcast we'll have a link that you can follow that will help you understand how you can do that, how you can get a hold of your legislator. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
I know that it's a priority now because the legislature's nearing probably adjournment. They have the possibility of passing some money that could be tied to federal money. That's what makes it a big priority.
Absolutely. We've been, as you indicated, Donovan, we've been working on this, not just me, a coalition of people have been working on this along with our Senator T.J. Shope and our other legislators to really find funding for the widening of I-10. It's the last section of I-10 between Phoenix and Tucson that has not been widened. One of the reasons is because it's also the last section that's on tribal land. It's on the Grix property, so that's slowed it a little bit, but also funding. So now we're at that point in time when the governor this year has put in his budget, his recommended budget of $400 million to go towards this section of I-10 widening. In protection, T.J. Shope also issued a bill. He sponsored a bill called Senate Bill 1239. And Senate Bill 1239 also earmarks $400 million and puts in a couple other little caveats that says basically if you don't spend it this year, you can carry it over to the next year so that we can actually use it for this section of I-10. Because obviously we can't start tomorrow building it because there's still some things to do. And so that $400 million now is, and his bill is sitting on the sideline, and we're waiting on the legislature to pull it back because they're not going to be able to finish their budget session before the deadline for us to apply for a federal grant, which is coming up. The deadline is in May, and so we need the $400 million from the state before we can go apply for the $300 million from the federal government.
So the idea is usually the legislature finishes the budget right before adjournment.
Correct.
If they don't have that finished, then
we won't be able to go after the grant.
Shope's bill could be passed as an interim measure to qualify for this federal
That's
match.
Correct. Right, that's correct. We have to have the matching funds in order to qualify for the $300 million ask that we're going after.
It seems to me that this has been a thing that's been important to people for a long time, but now there's just more awareness because the problem's only gotten worse. It's a problem not just for people in Casa Grande, Pinal County, the whole state's affected by it. It affects interstate commerce, and the congestion has gotten to the point where it's unsafe and people are taking chances the way they pass, weave lanes.
Drive, yeah.
And sometimes the backups are really terrible.
I was just on it yesterday, and there was a jackknife truck right at Queen Creek for all the westbound traffic, which is going north right at that point in time. But so all the traffic coming into Phoenix was blocked, and it was backed up past. It was about 4 to 6 mile backup, and it had just happened. So, and that's almost a daily occurrence. There's some sort of an accident or bumper, some bump in the road that closes one section or closes a road, or even if they stop somebody for a traffic stop, it backs traffic up. So it's really gotten bad. And really bad in the last year. And if anybody travels on that road, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
And now people sometimes try to take alternate routes, which causes problems other places. Taking Route 87, et cetera, it puts more traffic on that.
And that's what happened the other day, was that because everybody knew that the traffic accident had happened, they were all getting off at Casablanca, and it was backed up onto the interstate, causing more problems.
It really is. So as you say, this has been a priority for a while. The Pinal Alliance for Economic Growth has made it a priority, created a coalition to lobby for this, which has been working on this for a while.
That's right. It even includes the GRIC. The GRIC is a part of that lobbying effort. So they have been very active in trying to help us move this along, because one of the biggest issues they have is when we do shut down I-10, all that traffic goes out onto the tribal land, and which they do not like. So there's really no alternative, and especially with 2 lanes, we really have no alternative. So if we can get it to 3 lanes, some shoulder work on it as well, they're gonna have to touch every bridge between here and Chandler, and they're gonna have to add a new interchange. So there's a new interchange coming. They're gonna eliminate 1 bridge. They're gonna redo the other interchange at Casablanca. So that total is somewhere in the neighborhood of about $780 million. We have 400 that's being set aside by the state, 300 we want to get in the grant. We have another 50 that the governor put last year towards the bridge. And I think that MAG has another 100 or so million that they have for some of their section.
I believe that they're proceeding with the part north of Riggs Road basically already.
Correct.
So that might be slightly ahead of this part. Actually, if this funding gets approved, this could actually start in the fiscal year after July 1, could it not? There could be actual construction.
That's correct. What this will do is, if we can get this grant, currently the project is broken up into four sections because we don't have enough money for the whole thing. So they were going to take a section at a time. So like the bridge was a section, and then the piece from Blanca Road to Casa Grande was a section. What this does, if we can get all the money, it makes it one project. So now it's one project moving together, and it moves the project up almost a year. So it would start in 2023. So this is big, super important.
It is really big. We have interviewed the mayor, and we have a story up on PinalCentral right now that features that interview. It will be in tomorrow's newspaper along with an editorial about this issue. We also will have a link there to this interview at PinalCentral, and I'm sure that will be shared other places. What can people actually do about this?
Well, there's two things, two areas of I won't call it pressure, but just some persuasion that we need to try and do. One is to talk to your local legislators. TJ Shope is one, but he's in full support. Teresa Martinez, she's also in full support. But if you know any other legislators up there, just drop them a note. You can find their emails actually on the legislative website online, and just drop them a note and say, please, let's get TJ Shope's SB 1239 off the sidelines and get it approved, because the governor promised he would sign it if they approve it. And then the other piece is then continue to send notes to your senators, your U.S. senators, and your U.S. representatives, because they ultimately will have some say-so over the $300 million that we're trying to get from the federal infrastructure bill.
I know Congressman O'Halloran's worked on this. It all fits together, but the state part has to get done before the other part can kick in.
That's correct. That's correct. But we could use help on all fronts.
It's something that people have wanted for a long time, and now they have a possibility that things could start to move.
It's a big deal. To your point, Donovan, and I've said it many times. If I-10 doesn't get widened, it will choke us, and our economic growth will stop. We need people to work here. Lucid talks to me all the time about I-10, about housing, so those are their two biggest concerns. And as our largest employer today, they have 2,000 employees today. They expect to have another 1,000 by the end of this year. That's 3,000 employees. That's twice as big as any other employer we have now here in town. So it's a huge impact on our community. I know everybody feels it, because if you live here in Casa Grande, you know the traffic, and you know what it's like, and you know how hard it is to get a house, how hard it is to get product at this point in time. So it's a snowball.
And we know that some of those people will continue to commute here from the north and other directions, as well as we've had a long time thing with commuters going north, so they're going both ways.
That's right. We have as many people coming into Casa Grande as we have going out today. So it's a good problem to have. It makes us, not as much a bedroom community as maybe some people might suspect. Certainly not like Maricopa. Maricopa is definitely a bedroom community. I tell Mayor Price all the time, I said, well, just send your folks over here because we have lots of jobs. So anyway, appreciate anybody's help and everybody's help on this effort to try and get I-10 widened. It's incumbent on all of us to be a part of this solution. So thank you. Thank you, Donovan, for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.